Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy IX. We have made it to Terra at long last. And we are going to get a lot of exposition dumped on us today. I may have just very slightly, for about 90 to 95% of the game, buried the lead a little tiny bit about how weird FF9 gets. It's a slow ramp up to it, too. They gradually acclimate you to some of the weirder elements. They foreshadow a lot. And then you hit this final 5%-ish of the game, and it just goes. It's like, alright, you've been with us for 20, 30, 40 hours? Cool. Check this shit out. Oh, but before we get there, I'm actually really glad that even with the incredibly low encounter rate that we've been experiencing throughout this whole playthrough, we did at least get one random encounter before we get to our first town on Terra. Unfortunately, a lot of these enemies are quite annoying because they inflict that rare virus status. The one that we've only seen come up maybe once or twice, very few enemies throughout the entire game have it. It's the one that prevents you from being rewarded with AP or XP, and which requires a pretty specific and not all that common curative to get rid of. Luckily, we are so leveled up from prepping for Ozma that it really does not matter if we get AP or XP ever again for the rest of the playthrough, as short as that's going to be. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. We are just about at the end of the game. Disc 4 is not long. Disc 4 is essentially one dungeon, plus all of the ending cutscenes and cinematics and stuff, and the ability to free roam one more time. I thought we've already seen the Ifrit animation play out. Oh well. Always nice to see our boy Ifrit again, even if I did like the FF8 version of Ifrit a lot more. In fact, FF9 has my least favorite Ifrit design. Oh, but the FF10 one is so good. Yeah, it's nestled between two of like my favorite Ifrits. 8 and 10. Oh, hopefully this will give Amaranth a chance to land the killing blow and we can get a close-up of this. Is Zidane just floating in midair? Note Amaranth doing his cross-legged pose there. Now, we didn't get too many opportunities to fight with him, but we did see before... Oh my god, this is gorgeous. Hold on, I'm gonna belay that thought. Shit, that's so good looking. Getting diabetes from all the eye candy in the background. Love all those blown out highlights too that kind of looks like it's emulating Bloom. Oh man, it really has been a long time. Truly did not remember Terra being this beautiful. Also note the chests here since we have a close-up of one. We'll get back to that in a moment. Just note the design of the chest. Being led by this mysterious girl. Well, we will understand pretty soon. Maybe our own heritage. It's interesting because we know the heritage of all the other characters, except maybe Amaranth. He's a little bit up in the air. Seems to be some kind of blue-skinned human. But we know Kina, we know about the Q, we know about the summoners, Aiko and Garnet and their people. Steiner is a human. Vivi, we know the origin of the Black Mages. Zidane has been a big question mark throughout the whole playthrough though, huh? This is really, really devilishly hidden. And yeah, we will get back to Amarant in a second, but just up here, I think we have a cutscene coming up. This is where you belong. Bran Bal. It's really hard not to say that like Bran Bal. It's that eye in the sky again. We've seen this 3 different times now. We saw it once before Kuja took control of Bahamut at the Aoife tree. You're completely oblivious, just like a newborn child. You don't know why you were given life or for what purpose you exist. You simply shout to emphasize your life, your own existence. You are completely oblivious. Yeah, we saw it at the Aoife tree. We saw it before Alexandria was leveled. And we saw it in Madain Sari in Garnet's flashback. And that appears to be what she was recalling right before she fainted. But now we're in kind of a safe haven, the town of Bran Bal on Terra. And, as if it wasn't obvious before from the mysterious girl, everyone here has a tail and hair, just like Zidane. And everyone here has some interesting world-building dialogue here. Like, we possess no age, we were built like this. What do you require rest for? They don't know what night is. The point that I was going to make about Amarant, by the way, that cross-legged pose he did not always do that. Amarant only gains a victory pose after Ipsen's castle, which is a fascinating way of demonstrating character growth. And doing it organically within the game, using the gameplay systems to further his characterization. He doesn't do victory poses at the end of fights with everyone else. He just stands there, normally, until you finish Ipsen's castle, when Zidane rescues him and he finally starts integrating into the group and trusting them, feeling a part of this collective, of this in-group. Some of this dialogue is pretty cute. So when we're done here, this girl that we've been following, I go calling her a bimbo, is waiting for us in an underground lab. Freya picks up on this. You haven't been yourself. And that's really sharp observation. I can't concentrate with this blue light. Yeah, he's been acting a bit out of character. Normally he's pretty, lighthearted. A little bit cocky, a bit flirty. He's kind of a goof. That hasn't really been the case since we got here. And they're just recapping where we've seen the eye before. This same airship. The one which we learned the name of back in a previous dungeon. We learned all about that ship. The Invincible. By the way, the main theme of Terra, there are two of them. The first one is just straight up a place to call home. / the place I'll return to someday. And the other is a different arrangement of it. Oh, I also somehow forgot to mention that Ibsen's Castle's music is also just an arrangement of that. So all of these places connected with Terra, and now Terra itself, have some variation on that motif. We develop into vessels. Yeah, both men and women, right? Asexual beings would lack the genetic diversity to adapt to new environments. That's... nah. So, they have sexual dimorphism, but they don't reproduce sexually. They just have sexual dimorphism because they need the genetic variety, and asexual beings aren't suitable to adapt to new environment. Like, it smells like bullshit. The flow of souls means life, the stoppage of souls, yeah. Also, they mentioned the color of the planets, which is important because Zidane just mentioned the blue light here irritating him. Gaia's blue light causes pain to those of us who were created by this civilization. Waxing and waning of the moon, respiration of the planets. Yeah, it's not really important. The reason I pointed out the chests earlier is because, like everything connected to Terra, has that leitmotif of a place to call home, or an arrangement thereof. There was also the matter of the chests. All of those dungeons connected to Terra had this style of chest. I just subtly pointed that out the first time we came across one of these different styled chests. Also, remember in, I think it was the Aoife tree, how certain platforms were only reacting once Zidane stood on them? And we also had the dialogue from the boss of that dungeon, talking about the flow of souls and what the purpose of the mist was. Things are pretty quickly adding up. Also, between Hollow Knight and now... Oh. And FF9 now. Lots to talk about vessels, huh? So with everyone here having the same tails and hair as Zidane, and the big motif being a place to call home, this is apparently the place... Oh yeah, just straight up, they're being bred here. This is apparently the place that Zidane was gonna return to someday. The place to call home. We found it. We cracked the code. So she wanted to bring Zidane down here to show him the lab-grown Terrans. The genomes. They're a bunch of zombies. Is the end so good? It's the name of the seed given to all of us. And Zidane's accepting it. This is his home, technically. It's where he's from. It's where he was born. How come I grew up on Gaia if I was born here? This is a good question. Because he is special. And what makes him special is Garland, who is apparently the creator of all the genomes, imbued him with a special purpose, and I guess sent him off to Gaia. Also, that emblem between the mysterious girl and Zidane, we've seen that before too. We've seen that in dungeons, again connected to Terra. It's also, I think, the shape of the Gulag Stone that we got for Kuja. Yeah, there it is. We're really laying it all bare now. So the people of Terra are genomes. They're vessels created by Garland to house souls from Gaia. Because the planets each have their own little self-contained closed system that's a circle of life that involves souls going back into the cycle of the planet when someone dies. Garland wants to take control of that cycle and have the souls come to Terra from Gaia when an inhabitant of Gaia dies, so it can be placed in a Terran genome. So if you were thinking that Terra and Gaia being names for two different planets was stupid, well, now it should make a lot more sense. They're essentially doppel worlds, with the purpose of Terra being to absorb Gaia, or at least that's the will of Garland. Also, this story really reminds me of Nier and the whole Gestalt project. Now we're going to take control of Eiko for a little bit. A place to call home! Of course it's Kina. Is the stone edible? Or is it for barbecue? I think I'll lick it. I think I lick it. I'm gonna do it. Gonna lick it. Gonna give it a big lick. I'm gonna do it. It's pretty salty. Good rock. Good salty rock. Kina's the low-key best. Even they're pointing out the doppelgangers. And Kina's also picking up on it. And now, here's where things get real weird. Wow. Yeah, even Kina knows that Zidane seems really off. And even before he learned that this place is his home and that he was created with some special purpose and everyone else are vessels, he was off even before all of these revelations. In fact, he's been taking all of that in remarkable stride. The light is unpleasant to us. The blue light. The color blue has come up in conversations before. Most recently, before we hit Bran Bal, that is, Garland mentioned the light of the blue moon, that Zidane had been bewitched by it for too long. Vivi feels that they are similar. They're a lot like the Black Mages. First, we don't look alike. Their minds are not hollow. I think their minds are just out to lunch for a while. So they are not just empty vessels. Oh, that's even more horrific if you think about it. There's an element of body horror in here that I don't think I ever really considered. That there are people in there, they are just trapped in these barely ambulatory bodies. Their minds are essentially comatose, even though the bodies are perfectly mobile. And hey, you learn a little bit more about Amaranth. Had no God, this is the edgiest story. I had no loving parents. My first memory is of a guy I had to fight. Like, he's totally the guy who would draw some kind of OC hedgehog that teleports behind you and goes, "Nothing personnel, kid." And now for each person who we saw in the active time events with Aiko, we're going to go around the town and talk to each of them. So Kina, Vivi, and Amaranth. And they're going to come with us after Zidane. And we are going to go to... Oh, the background's so good! Where souls bide their time until the restoration. We are going to go to a prison castle for souls, essentially, called Pandemonium. Zidane finds all of this out and instantly has this identity crisis where he's considering himself an enemy of the people of Gaia and looking for meaning, looking for family, looking for answers. I think the perspective of the stairs there is really, really odd, where this looks like a bridge and it looks like the stairs go under it because of the way that's shaded near the top step. That's gonna do it for now, though. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one.